Hello, Market Club members everywhere. Adam Houston here, coming to you from the digital studios of Market Club. Well, it's Friday, the 12th of August. This month is rapidly moving up and summer's almost over. I hate to say that, but that's the reality. The summer doldrums haven't been quite so doldrumy if you look at some of the markets, but we are seeing some activity in some stocks. Of course, we have some very strong stocks, but we also have some strong equity markets. Lots going on. Everything seems to be going up at once. Why is that? Well, sometimes you really can't tell and point to one particular item. But let's take a look at Kinder Morgan. We've talked about this as kind of reverse play. All of our trade triangles are positive. You can see that right here on Kinder Morgan. And plus we have some target zones on the upside for a recovery into the stock. We traded as high as 44.75 in this stock on a close-only basis, and we've recovered quite nicely, but I still think there's some more to go. As one of our members said, it's a very slow plodding type of stock, but it is acting very well. And if you look at where we've come from and some of the support areas, it's been quite encouraging because you got right down to that 50 support line right here, and you can see it just bounced right back up. But we're looking for this stock to trade somewhere between 28.70 and 32. So I think that's a reasonable amount, and that gets back to this sort of area of resistance. That's going to be a resistance area for this stock, and it could be, obviously it's driven, it's energy stock. Energy has just sort of made a turn, not quite yet, but it's beginning to at least bottom out. So this is looking more friendly to KMI. That's a symbol for Kinder Morgan. We talked about this stock a little while ago, and it's worked out well for us so far. So let's move on to some other stocks we're looking at today. Here's another stock we've talked about before, ABX. It's Barrick Gold. Obviously, it's relying very heavily on what happens to the price of gold, but you can see we've had this sort of double top area that's really kind of offered resistance, and then we have this sort of pivot point. So we've come back down, and we're starting to go back up. If we close over the 23 level, this is going to look very, very, very good for this market. So let's see how that plays. But you can see how the 50 line, again, that 50 line played such a big part in the support. All of our trade triangles are positive, giving us a strong score and indicating the trend is up. So Kinder Morgan and Barrick Gold, like them both from the long side. Another stock we've talked about is Newmont Mining. NEM's the symbol. You can see it's actually closing very high. It's actually higher for the week, and we closed last week at $44.38. It's $45.67. Not a big move, but it's certainly going in the right direction, and the trend is your friend. So again, we think the mining shares are actually reflecting what's going on in the metal. So let's take a look at gold right now. This is spot gold, and as you can see, this is today's action. Very strong upward move today. Spot gold is higher for the week. We closed last week at $1,336. We're $1,352, so we're up some, what is that, $16 for the week. And it's still not over with yet. So if we close up here, it's going to be a pretty good close if you just put a close-only chart on. Easy to do with Market Club. Just click here, and you can see we're over that point. But look at how the support line held at 50. I really urge you to watch these RSI lines. We just use the default setting here at Market Club, nothing fancy, but it just seems to give you good areas to get in the market at a low risk. So again, our trade triangles, if we put them in, you can see they're all kind of positive on this market. So let's see how things play out. Again, longer term, we're still very positive. We think gold's going to go certainly in 1,400 in the short term, and then much higher a little later on. I think there's a lot going on in the market. Somewhere along the line here, we're going to see a decoupling of gold and the equity markets and crude oil. So let's see how that plays out. We're looking at September crude oil. As you can see, this is a pretty good day yesterday. That changed our daily to exit a position because we had a signal to sell yesterday, the day before, cover the position, or a small loss, but the market is doing higher. What's really interesting to me now is the fact that look at the momentum. We've just crossed over the 50 line, and that's the first time we've seen that happen actually since way back here, and that's going back to July 1st. So that's quite a time period for this market to sort of stay below the 50 line, but it's moved over there. perhaps indicating that the trend is going to be at least a bounce. We still look for this market to perhaps go to the 46, even the 48 level. But let's see how that plays out. Generally speaking, you should be out of this market on the sidelines, but this is helping Kinder Morgan to a certain degree. So let's see how that plays out. We are high for the week. Last week we closed in crude oil at $41.80. We're $43.80. We're up $2 for the week, and that's a pretty big move for the week. Looking at the Dow is slightly higher for the week. Last week we closed at 18,543. We're 18,590, so only about 50 points higher for the week. Not a lot, but still positive, and that's the good thing to look at. So let's see how we close. It's still early in the trading day, so we may actually see this market close quite a bit higher or quite a bit lower. So let's see how things played out. But a little bit thing concerning me is the RSI, the divergence on the RSI. Let me just show you what that is, just so you get an idea. So we've basically been making new highs, if you consider these highs like right here, and we've been seeing the momentum really not quite there. So that's something to be a little bit concerned about, but it's too early to tell. But all of our trade triangles, you can see, are quite clearly positive on the upside, so indicating the trend is still firmly set on the upside. Pretty much the same picture in the S&P 500, just still higher for the week. We closed last week at 2,182, and we're currently trading at 2,183. So barely changed for the week, but slightly positive. And again, very flat on the RSI line. A little bit of concern there, but let's see how this plays out. But the trend is clearly positive with a plus 90 score, and we're expecting this indices to move higher in the future. Last index we're looking at is the NASDAQ, and last week that closed at 5,219, and we're 5,222, so barely changed for the week, but slightly higher. But again, I'm a little concerned about the momentum here on the RSI, so that may be cause for some concern and being a little bit conservative. But anyway, watch the gold, watch Kinder Morgan, and let's see how the week progresses next week. Should be an interesting week. So thanks for watching. Every success. Have a great weekend, and we'll be back next week.